Sunday night, March 26th, Academy Awards evening. But this, in my opinion, is even more important because tonight we're going to cover an issue that isn't discussed enough. We're going to look at schools and gay youth. What's going on in the schools today with gay youth? We have 4 guests here tonight who are going to address that issue, and we really welcome as many phone calls as we can possibly receive here tonight at 341-1155. Don Cohn, Kids Are Talking. The subject matter tonight is something that we've been trying to address now for the last month, but we keep getting different things that come up that somehow it didn't seem like we'd ever be able to get this show on the air, but tonight it's finally happening, and I'm excited about it. And 58 Post Road East Westport, if you're driving around or you're walking around on this beautiful night, come on down to our studio, participate in the show. As we always do on Kids Are Talking, to introduce our show tonight, we have our band, our trio, called the American Standard. Mike Budd, Bill Pond, and Ken Pond come on every week before we get into our subject matter. And the thing that's very nice for us at Kids Are Talking is that they write a song that basically speaks to the theme of the evening. And so tonight, they wrote a song called Deep Inside. So without anything more to say, to start our show tonight, once again, looking at gay youth and what's going on in the schools today, here is American Standard, Deep Inside. That's American Standard. Deep Inside, Mike Budd, Bill Pond, Ken Pond. They'll be back towards the end of the show. For any of you just tuning in right now, that song is written because we're talking about how schools and gay youth are dealing with each other around town, locally. Maybe we'll even get beyond locally on tonight's show. If you want to call us at Kids Are Talking, 341-1155 is the number. We're down at Tokay Hall at 58 Post Road, East and Westport. Please feel free to come down here. If you want to email us, drdon@kidsaretalking.org. Our website is www.kidsaretalking.org. Any way you want to communicate with us and the panel tonight would be very well appreciated, because this is an interactive show and we have a lot to talk about tonight. So what we traditionally do here on Kids Are Talking is I have my panel introduce themselves to you and share a little bit about what they're doing here and who they are. So that's what I'm going to do now. Move the mic over to the other end of the table and have my first guest introduce themselves.
Thanks, Don. My name is Dan Woog. I live in Westport. I'm a writer. I also work at Staples High School as a substitute teacher and an assistant soccer coach. I am openly gay. I helped found the Staples High School Gay-Straight Alliance in 1993, the first high school gay-straight alliance at a public school in the state. And I also work with a youth group for gay, lesbian, bisexual, and questioning teens in Fairfield County called Outspoken.
Thanks, Dan. I'm glad to have you here tonight. I know we've tried to get you here now for about a month, so welcome.
Thanks.
Let's move around the table here. Let's go.
Okay.
Here we go.
I'm John Rose. I go to Staples, live in Westport, junior. I'm part of the Gay Straight Alliance.
Nice to have you here tonight, John.
Thanks.
Hi, my name's Dana. Dana Justice.
Dana, tell us, you came a long way tonight.
I came a long way.
And Dana, how come you came a long way to be with us tonight?
Because I love you.
You love me or you love your audience?
I love everyone.
Really?
Yes. And I'm from Burlington, Connecticut.
And what is it about this show that brought you here tonight?
I'm a lesbian, so I need to talk for my people.
Well, that's really good. We're happy to have you here, Dana. We need your voice tonight.
Okay.
Thank you.
I'm Brendan Clifford. I'm a junior at Fairfield High School, and I am also on the Gay Straight Alliance there.
Well, as you can see here tonight at Kids Are Talking, we have a very diverse crowd, and I'm really happy about that. So I hope that all of you are here listening and participating in what I think is one of our most important shows of the season. And Dan, I think I'm going to start with you because this is an area that you've been pioneering for a long time. You've written about it, I understand. We talked before the show. I mean, it's such a broad issue. I mean, it's going on. There's so much in the news right now, particularly USA Today has written a lot in the New York Times about these gay-straight alliance clubs. And there's so many issues to cover, but I think we talked before the show, and you felt it was more important to just zero in on what's going on in the schools today. Am I right?
Yes, you could talk about a number of issues, but there's plenty to talk about from the youth and school level. There are all kinds of issues. Gay-straight alliances, should they exist?
Right.
Who are they aimed at? Coming out in school, is it good or bad? Should there be openly gay teachers? But I think a good place to start is with the school environment itself. So I guess I'll throw this question out.
Good.
How would you rate the environment of your schools for gay and lesbian youth? Whether they're open or closeted, what's the atmosphere at your school?
I don't know, Dana, you want to start with Burlington, so you're the one who's the farthest away here tonight here on Kids Are Talking.
Okay. I go to St. Paul Catholic High School.
This is Dana Justice.
Yeah, this is Dana Justice.
Who loves everybody.
Who loves everyone. And I go to St. Paul Catholic High School, although I don't know if I'm allowed to say that, so...
Why would you not be allowed to say that, Dana?
Because I think I think there's something in the handbook that says I can't falsely represent the school or something like that.
Oh.
I think if they found out about it, then they would probably be angry, but who cares?
Your parents happy that you're on tonight? Do they have any problem with you being on the air tonight?
No. My parents are gay. I have a lesbian mother, and she's so cool, and she drove me all the way down here tonight.
Wow.
And I have gay dogs, too, but that's a whole nother story.
Is your mother here, or is she...
She's not here in the audience today, but I think she's searching for the station right now.
90.3. Okay, just so you know that. It's 90.3.
Well, she's not going to really hear you unless she finds the station.
Well, who knows? Maybe she'll just hear me.
Okay.
Okay, Dana, maybe talk a little bit about your school and
Okay.
what Dan was bringing up.
Well,
Yeah.
since I go to a Catholic high school, they don't really accept that. My dream was to bring a girl to the prom and, do the whole, like, suit tie thing. But I don't think I'm going to be able to do that because I've heard from other people who are gay now and used to go to the school that they won't let you walk to get your diploma, like, on the last day of school if you do something like that. Because, like, it's been discussed before, actually. It's just not written in the rule book or anything. So I'm kind of sad about that. I'm out at school, and
Has that been for a long time?
a while. I came out at like the beginning of the year. So me being so young, everybody thinks it's just a phase. And I have a big pin on my bag that says it's not a phase.
You find people telling you that you can really do something about this if you wanted to. You don't really have to be this way.
Oh, they think I'll get over it.
Who's telling you that?
Teachers, people that I know, friends. A lot of people. I actually had a girl come up to me the other day and say, "Why do you have to go around telling everybody that you're gay?" First of all, I don't go around telling everybody that I'm gay because, that's just not necessary, and I have better things to do.
How are you able to love everybody with all this intolerance?
I love everybody anyway because, it's just how they're raised. It's not like they were raised with ignorance. They weren't born with it. So you have to love the person that was born.
Do they tease you? Do they know about your situation at home that you're living in?
Yeah. I had this... They come out with, like, the most unimaginative things to say. Like, this one kid told everyone that his mom was a lesbian and was going out with my mom. So I went up to him and I said, "I'll see you at home." And he was just like, "You're so dumb, you stupid dyke." Stuff like that. It's like, yeah.
Do you know how many kids or have come out at your school?
At my school?
Yeah.
I know of one other boy that graduated, like, last year that came out, but I don't know if I should say his name or anything, but...
You don't have to do it, but you're comfortable, obviously, talking about this. And
Yeah.
Has it been that way for you, or did it take a long time to build up to this?
Well,
What'd you go through to get to this point?
I always thought that if I was ever gay, because my parents were gay, so for ever since I was 7 years old, they had a marriage ceremony and whatever. I was a flower girl, very cute. And I always thought if I was ever gay, if I ever realized I was gay, then I would definitely come out. I always told myself that. And I went through my stages of denial and saying, you know what, if I ever had a kid, I will never ever make them go through what I had to go through, all the teasing and stuff like that in middle school. Then I got into high school, and I was dating a boy for 2 years. And nobody thought I was gay after that. I had to convince my mom. Well, first I said I was bisexual, and they were like, you have to be one way or the other. My mom was kind of supportive. My other mom was, you're either one way or the other. I'm not really going to accept that.
Is that pretty much how it's thought of in terms of bisexuality? I've always wondered about that.
It's kind of ironic that they're not going to accept that. They weren't, she wasn't really that accepting of that at the time, because, she went through the same thing with her parents.
In terms of starting out bisexual?
No, saying that she was gay.
Uh-huh.
And, she had to deal with, people not believing that she really was and stuff like that. So I had to prove it. And then going on, and I eventually said I was a lesbian and realized that and moved on from there and had to prove myself then again.
How did you have...
It was they were the head lesbians and I was just a little lesbian in training. So that kind of affected me.
Is there a gay-straight alliance club at your school?
No, I've had many people come up to me and say, "Why don't you start one?" I started to put up more like a feminism, diversity kind of group together. But I talked to some teachers about it, and they said that it would make the school's boys look bad.
It would make the school's boys look bad?
Yes. So they probably wouldn't do it.
Why? The boys more than the girls?
Yeah, because it was first I wanted to come up with like a diversity group, and that wasn't gonna fly because I wanted to like have sexual orientation in there. And then I was starting to think, well, we could do like a feminism thing and have like Rosie the Riveter as our like little mascot and stuff like that, and it would be really cool because I'm like very like leadership oriented, and I like to start groups and stuff like that. But no, that didn't fly either. They said it would make the school's boys look bad.
Well, you guys, you want to comment on that, my panel, in terms of what you've heard so far? John?
Making the school's boys look bad. That's what I'm for.
That's what you're
I don't
for?
know, but it seems like...
This is John
Staples,
Rose.
for instance. Yeah, that's me. For Staples, for instance, my friends, I have a friend who is bisexual. Won't say her name. But it's a her.
Can you tell people
great.
a little bit about bisexuality so people don't get confused by that in terms
Well,
of...
bisexuality is just basically you have feelings for anything that walks by. No. Whether it's a guy or a girl, it doesn't really matter. It's just you have feelings for both. It's basically like being straight with a little extra thrown in.
Dana, do you want to interrupt?
Yeah, let me just say that. Now, people, I know this kid, and I know he's really nice and everything, but please, no one take that the wrong way. That was walking on very thin ice there, what you said.
What do you mean walking on... Dana, you want to comment?
No, I wanted to sort of point out something that Dana said before about what they said about her school making it look bad. There's a great difference between public schools and private schools. Connecticut is one of 4 states in the country that mandates that all public schools be safe for gay and lesbian students. It's in the law that schools must be safe environments for gay and lesbian students in the state of Connecticut. So many schools have addressed that by making sure that gay-straight alliances can flourish. I know that Staples has one that's very open, and Fairfield's is a bit underground. So I don't know if Brendan wants to talk about the atmosphere at his school.
John, we'll get back to you. I know this. You go ahead, Brendan, and then we'll get back to John. You were starting to talk about that bisexual girlfriend or female friend, right?
Yeah.
Brendan, go ahead. But then I just want you to know we haven't forgotten about that. I want to get back to it.
Sure, yeah. The Gay Straight Alliance in my school is hidden. We were discussing earlier that it sort of defeats the purpose because we're not allowed to talk about it being there. If we mention it, people are afraid that people are going to find out who is in the Gay Straight Alliance and then your cover is blown or something like that. And I can certainly understand how someone might be apprehensive about coming out if they're not ready to come out. They just want a comfortable circle where they can just be themselves. But it alienates all the people who are not told immediately about it. I just happened upon it in a conversation. And that's how I came to be involved with it. But it's really not that much to be involved in right now. It's certainly something that we have it. It's better than some schools, and it's Connecticut. So.
But it's not recognized. They're not allowed to be having it. Is that?
Well, no, you are allowed to be having it. We have teachers who are openly involved with it, and they proclaim that their classrooms are safe for gay and lesbian students. But it's really not something that we talk about that much. You don't have you wouldn't announce a meeting for it over the intercom like you would Key Club or something like that. And it's just if you hear about it, you hear about it, and you go and you.
But doesn't that put it in the realm of being something that's bad if you can't talk about it?
So, yeah, they make it out to be very shady and something that is almost taboo. Like if you have to go, you'll find out anyway and you'll go, but no one else needs to know about it.
How many kids are in this club?
I would say around 20. I haven't been involved that long, and I haven't gone to as many meetings as I should have, but from what I've seen, about 20.
And what made you decide to be in the club?
Well, one of my friends was through discussion. It was discovered that there was one, and that they offered for me to come, and I went occasionally. My schedule is very busy, so I don't always have time for it. But that's just how it came about. What was your question?
Well, that was my question. What's the problem that people are having in this club? I mean, I know there's all the stuff I read in the newspapers. I mean, what's the problem that you're hearing?
I haven't seen any open opposition to it. I just haven't seen any open support for it either. It's just the few teachers that will get involved with it, and we do have some, I guess you would say, openly gay teachers in the school. We have a couple who are both teachers at our school, and it is known publicly through the school that they are a couple. I've never heard it, officially said, but that's what I understand, and that's really about it.
And your parents support this? They're behind you being in the club?
Yeah, it's not something I talk about that much, but they support all the clubs that I want, and they're supportive of openness and tolerance and things like that, which is basically what the club is there for. I think
right.
It's trying to start the ball rolling.
Right. John, I want to get back to you, but we lost you somewhere. I got kind of carried away with this You were starting to talk about your friend who's bisexual?
Yeah. When she told me, it was like a little bit of a shocker, and I accepted her fully for it.
Uh-huh.
And it's just, we don't really talk about it. I mean, she's had boyfriends before, and we talk about that, but it's not like a thing of like, oh my God, you are. We must talk about this every single time you come near me and discuss it in lengthy topics and everything. It's there. That's great for you. I support you to the fullest. Thank you, for telling me, being close enough to able to tell me this kind of a secret.
So is that how you got involved in this? Because you were involved in the Gay Straight Alliance Club at Staples, right?
Yeah, I started not because of her, because of I have relatives who are gay, and it's I had been thinking about and it's plus I guess I shouldn't. I had been looking. I need more clubs. My parents were pushing for clubs. They're clubs are good for college. Go find it.
Even if it's the Gay Straight Alliance.
Even if it's the Gay Straight, they didn't really care. They don't really know that they just know that I have clubs 3 days a week.
That's America for you, right?
Yeah, it's pretty much. Right. So I just okay, I got a club on Wednesday, club on Thursday, club on Tuesday. That's good.
Right.
They can leave me alone now.
So what's the climate as you're sitting with Dan tonight, being Westporters? What's the climate at Staples? Dan was, obviously a big force behind all of this at Staples and has been open about his situation. What's the climate?
I think it's kind of different. For every person, it's different with the people who you associate with. With my friends, for instance, we're very open and everybody's supportive of everybody else, and we're really close. But I think it more depends on who your friends are and who you talk with. I don't know anybody who goes to Staples, but in one particular building, everybody just knows everybody, and we're all really great. People.
Do you feel the school is supportive of...
The school's pretty supportive of your choice and whatever, because in the month of November we have what's called Diversity Day, and there's a lot of issues discussed. We talk about sexual orientation, whether you're gay, bisexual, lesbian, whatever you want. Doesn't matter. Talk about it. And then there are people who deal with, prejudices too, but the point is it's also discussed there, so it doesn't matter. And then it's basically a panel of people who are sitting up in the auditorium, and they talk about different issues. Sometimes people come out and say they're gay. Sometimes they talk about all different stuff. And
is your friend who says she's bisexual? I'm trying to get a little bit of feel of it. The one who says she's bisexual. Do you feel that she's not ready to come out completely, or do you think that is there this thing about bisexuality? Is it a true form? Because there's a lot of controversy over that in terms of coming out. Danny, maybe you can address that.
Okay. I was once bisexual. Well, I guess not really. I was always a lesbian. I was just never totally came out as a lesbian yet.
How old were you when you realized it, by the way?
When I realized I was a lesbian, or when I realized I was bisexual?
Well, both. One and then the other.
When I realized I was attracted to women, or when I realized
when you realized you were attracted to women?
When I was 13.
So go ahead. You speak to there's a process in this for you, is what you're sharing, right? In terms of the bisexual issue, right?
Yeah. Well, I identified as bisexual. I think it was more of a safety thing, because it's more safe at my school to say you're bisexual and to tell people you're bisexual than to say that you're gay.
Right.
Which is really strange, but...
Well, you have...
Get that mic in front of you, please, Brandon.
Sorry, you...
Gotta have that mic, buddy. Go ahead.
It's hard sharing it.
I know, but we share here on Kids at 30.
I think it's safer that way because you are also affiliated with going after men or for a guy going after girls. You like both, and that's better than not liking the opposite sex. It's better, it's more accepted, and people can just ignore it or say it's a phase. Personally, I think some people are just bisexual. I think you can have as deep attraction to both as you can to one separately. Most people think that it is a safety zone. I know one person who says they're bisexual, and I believe them. And either way, if that's where they're in their life, if that's the place they're in, I see no reason why it's any different than being straight or being gay.
Dan or John, you want to jump in on this?
I'm not done yet.
No, Dana's not. This is a hot one for you, Dana. Kids are talking. Come on down. 341-1155. Dana is talking, and Dana would love to hear from you all.
Yes. I want someone to call in and ask me a question. So if you're listening, you need to call and ask me questions.
Go ahead, Dana.
Okay. So I wasn't done yet.
Well, go
Because
ahead.
I don't want anybody to get the impression that I think that bisexual people are just people who are eventually going to be gay. Because that's not true. Because I know many bisexual people who,
We're still bisexual.
are bisexual, truly bisexual. I just used it as a safety zone for
yourself.
For myself. For when I was going out with my boyfriend and I had to tell him I was bisexual, and it wouldn't really fly if I told him I was a lesbian and was still going out with him. And I just didn't want to be lonely because nobody wanted to talk to me, so but it was gay. So
I think there's an important issue here,
ahead,
which
Dan.
is that it's not about gay, lesbian, bisexual, straight, transgender, black, white. It's not about labels. It's about making schools safe for every kid who's there. And when you get hung up on trying to label kids, you end up with a school that is divided. I think one of the things that I am most proud of with our Gay Straight Alliance is that by saying the words gay and lesbian and bisexual and saying them non-judgmentally, we don't have as much of the snickering, as much of the joking as we had 5 or 6 years ago. And I think that filters down to a lot of other differences. We don't hear that's so retarded as much either. And I'm not saying Staples is perfect by any means, but I think that by having a gay straight alliance that is out there, that is discussing these issues, people realize that labeling isn't important. It's who you are as a person.
So nobody's really even focusing on whether you're bisexual or gay or lesbian, is what you're saying. It's just kind of people are relaxed about it. Is
What
that
do you
you're
think,
saying?
John?
Yeah, John, what do
In
you
our
think?
meetings.
They don't really focus on whether you're one or the other or both or straight or whatever. It's just you are what you are, and more power to you.
But if somebody's struggling and coming out, did they open up in the group and the kids help them or support them?
We are not a support group.
Okay.
We have two missions. One is educational, to educate the school about homophobia.
Right.
The other is social, where kids can relax and not have to wear the masks that they might wear during the day. We are not a support group for gay youth.
Okay.
We are a gay, straight alliance. We don't make any assumptions about anyone's sexuality. We have had kids come out
In the meetings or?
in the meetings and talk about how they feel when they hear certain things
Right.
the teachers say,
Right.
but our function is not to
Right.
provide answers for struggling youth. That's not the school's function.
So the school's function again is to do what, basically?
Education, and that means educating the whole school about homophobia, and social, where kids can relax and be themselves without having to make any kind of assumption.
So you feel that's happening at Staples at this point?
John, what do you think?
I think so, definitely, because during the meetings themselves, there are a lot of people there that, it's comprised of, boys and girls, and it doesn't matter whether they're gay or straight, or even bisexual for that matter. They're just there.
Is there a lot of teasing going on? I thought I heard you say something about it, Dan. Are there comments being made or ridicule?
It's not comments of it's just basically people saying, "Oh, that's so gay."
Yeah, well, that's a common expression, of course. Oh, that's
I
so,
hear
It's really
that
stupid.
so many times a day.
oh, that's so gay?
No. Yes. Yeah, that and so many other things all day
Yeah.
long. Oh my goodness. I hear it all the time. The stupidest things. That quiz was so gay.
Yeah. Yeah. So what do you do when you hear that?
No, it was so straight because straight people stink. No. I
So
didn't
do
mean
you
that.
correct them? So do you correct them when they say that?
I just turned the tables a couple of times. I am very out there, and I know a lot of people aren't that out there. So I know it's harder for other people to like saying, "Oh my goodness, she came out and she could be all open and like just like not care what anybody thinks." But I think everybody has the power.
How does it feel listening to Dan and John talking? Well, Brandon, they're a little underground, obviously, in Fairfield. How does it feel hearing? You were saying something. There's a difference in the private schools and the public schools, Dan. I mean, obviously, you're not having the same kind of support or openness in your school that
It's
you're
like
getting at
a
Staples.
utopia to hear about this because that would never happen at my school. My school, like the archdiocese, if anybody, like I was making any public announcement, they could like kick me out of school because it's a private school, private Catholic school, they can do whatever they want.
But to me, Dana, it seems that the purpose of a school is to provide a safe environment where every kid can reach his or her potential. And if there's a student there who can't concentrate because of the comments he or she is hearing or because they're worried about, that someone will find out their secret. If a kid can't concentrate in school for whatever reason, that school is not doing what it's supposed to do, which is helping each kid grow and develop.
So how did they get them to do that?
That's very, very, very true. And I believe that they should do it.
So how does that happen for them? I mean, what kind of suggestions could we make, or what could you do to change it there at a school like yours? Is there any hope?
It's progressing, I guess. When more and more it's like getting open and like my teachers know. And I think every little out person helps. Like that's what inspired me to come out was this one boy came out and he was like out and I knew someone who went there who was gay also, and she came out afterwards, and she didn't come out in school, but just to know that there was someone else who went through this torturous environment before me.
But you're not able to get some privileges of coming out, is what you're saying, right? That there's consequences for.
No,
Right?
I do it to promote change because every little bit helps. Every little like new thing, it makes it more common, and it'll make it easier for the next person to come out because they know that, oh yes, I knew that girl, she came out.
But what were you saying earlier in the show? Something about graduation or something?
Oh, yeah.
What were you saying for people who just tuned in late tonight?
Yes, if you bring someone of the opposite sex to the prom.
Same sex.
Same sex.
The opposite sex. If you bring someone to the opposite sex to the prom, you could walk to get your
Not the other way
diploma.
around.
But if you went the other way, and did the same sex thing, and they wouldn't let you.
When you're seen with your mom and when you're seen with your mom, when you're all together as a family, do you get teased about that, or is that hard when you go
No,
public?
they all know my car though, because it has all the rainbow flags on it. So they're like, Dana, your ride's here.
But your mom is supportive of you and defends you, and does she try to help with the school to educate as well and make the school safe? Is she trying to?
No.
She's not. How come?
She doesn't get involved with that because there's nothing really that we can do.
Dan, you were saying that. Go ahead, Brandon. Brandon from Fairfield.
I was just going to say that as a parent, isn't it her right to intercede in school administration and demand that their child have a safe learning experience and an environment to learn without distraction or fear, private school or not? That's really imposing on the rights of the people going there and their parents, and even if you can't change anything, it's still fighting against something that you can't change is sometimes even better because it makes other people aware, and then the more people that come in and fight what the administration or whatever doesn't want changed, the faster it can get changed.
Okay. This is a Catholic school. It is run by the archdiocese, whatever. I think it's against the Catholic religion or the Catholic law or something like that to
be gay.
Yeah, to do that. It's like a sin or something, and it's it's not following the Catholic way or something like that.
Go ahead, Dan.
It's not the important point to make, and you can make this, Dana, and I'm sure you will, is that it's not about being gay. It's about being safe in your school.
That's true.
And feeling comfortable. And what Brendan said is also very true. A lot of people will not speak out and speak up for safe schools in terms of gay and lesbian students. A lot of members of the gay community say, I can't say anything.
Right.
I don't have kids in school. However, they're taxpayers. They are paying to educate the next generation. Every single human being in this world has a stake in the kids who are in our schools
Not in a
today.
private school.
Yeah, but not
Absolutely.
Yeah, what was your point about the private public school? You were saying something earlier for people that just tuned in.
Yeah. The fact that you go to a Catholic school doesn't mean that you should not have a safe environment. You can sit there with the largest cross in the world on the wall, and it has nothing to do with gay or straight. It has to do with you feeling safe in that school environment. There was a lawsuit a couple of years ago, a young man in Wisconsin named Jamie Nabuzny. And from 7th grade to 11th grade, he was threatened, he was kicked, he was pushed into lockers and had his head stuck in a urinal, and he dropped out of school. And he sued the school for not providing a safe environment, and he won. And he won a judgment of $900,000. And if that doesn't make school boards, private or public, sit up and say, wait a minute, we have to do something for our gay kids, and I don't know what will.
So what can she do? And also, I want to ask you,
It's
Dan.
not, I don't know if you have the wrong impression. I'm not like, I don't feel like I'm in any danger of getting hurt by other students. There's lots of like homophobic comments made.
Well, that's how you get hurt. You can get hurt with words.
Right. And who
just
else is
as
out
much.
there? Who else is going through it? I mean, you don't know who else is out there who's struggling with this right now, right?
Nobody else will come out. Nobody
Well, I think, Dan,
dares
your
come
point
out
is
in my
if they,
school.
but I think Dan's point, am I right, is that if they haven't come out, if there's all that kind of stuff going, they're not going to feel comfortable coming out and safe coming out. So they need people like you. And what I wanted to ask you, Dan, and anybody can jump in. How do you feel? I mean, I would think your mom. I mean, getting back to what I was saying before, are you surprised that her mom is not coming in and kind of stepping in and helping out here?
No, I don't think that it necessarily has to be the gays and the lesbians who are saying, what are we doing for our gay and lesbian kids?
Right.
I think the straight allies are really, really important. I think someone who is
Where are they?
who is so into marriage that he's been married 3 times, should be the type of person to say, wait a minute, there are kids hurting. What are we doing for them?
So where are these folks? Okay, go ahead, Brandon. Kids are talking, 341-1155. Don Cohen, we're talking about gay issues in the school.
Yeah, I was just going to agree. That's the reason I got involved with the Gay Straight Alliance. I'm neither gay nor lesbian.
You're just a regular guy.
I'm just a regular old Joe. But if it's going to make it that much easier for people to be themselves in the school environment, then it's worth any struggle you have to put up, whether you're going to initially benefit from that or not. I'm not getting anything from being there, and whether we do anything or not, whether we're just a club and we just sit and talk or not, it's still support, and it's still helping other people get through whatever they have to deal with in the environment that our society has set up. I think it's hard enough for people to come out in a school that is open because you have the ridicule of students as it is. It's a lot worse when the administration doesn't at least have support, whether they're going to come out and have an assembly and introduce you as a gay student and say everyone cheer for this person or not. I mean,
That would be torturous.
Yeah,
torturous.
It's very interesting because you bring up a great issue. And gay straight alliances are wonderful. And assemblies are great. And diversity days are important. But there are other ways that gay and lesbian issues can be addressed in the schools. They can be mentioned just as part of the normal lesson. If you're reading a separate piece, anybody who's read that, there is something going on there between Gene and Phineas. And no one ever talks about that in English class. If you're a math teacher and you've got word problems, and this, I'm talking junior high here. John and Jane go to the grocery store. How many gallons of milk do they buy for X amount of money? Why can't John and Jim go to the grocery store. They don't have to do it all the time, but maybe once every 10 word problems sends a really important message, not just to the gay kids or the kid with gay parents, but to the straight kids the next time they're in Grand Union and see two guys together, that it's not that big a deal. Anybody have any other thoughts on this stuff in school?
John, yeah, what about you at Staples? I mean, in terms of what you see going on, what are your thoughts? And of course, listening to Dana's situation, what do you think, John? I mean,
Staples.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, you feel there's much more tolerance there, right?
Yeah, there's a lot more tolerance in Staples.
And the teachers have come out, right?
There are, like, openly gay teachers. I can think of 2 right now. I don't care, like, if they mention their names.
Well, I don't think we need to mention the names, but the point is that
they are there, and they're there.
Right, and
it's pretty good. Everybody's pretty accepting. I mean, there are the quote, the certain people who shall remain nameless, who are...
How many kids would you say are gay or are struggling in Staples right now, in Westport? Do you have any rough idea?
Like a number?
Yeah, just a rough...
Who are gay? Hold on. Out gay people?
Well, even your sense are struggling with it. How prominent? I mean, how big a struggle even? It doesn't have to be, just...
A number.
Yeah, I mean,
You don't even know how many gay people there are in your school, because some people probably aren't even going to know until they're 35. So
right,
how would
right.
you even know?
But you get it.
They say that like 1 out of every 10 kids is supposedly gay.
My point is, do you get
everywhere?
Yeah, but I'm saying is, do you get a sense that kids are struggling with it? I mean, do you just get a feel? I mean, can you pick those kids out?
I think there are some kids who are struggling with it, and there are those who just go into complete and utter denial.
Right.
And just refuse to believe it. And there are those who are just like, oh, okay.
So what are some of the issues you're talking about in this Gay Straight Alliance Club at Staples? What do you talk about in there?
What do we talk about? Pretty much anything that goes on. If we talk about, like, if somebody had to deal with, like, walking through the cafeteria and hear stupid remarks like, oh, that's so gay. How did you feel about it? Did you say anything about it? Is your friend something? Did that bother them? Blah, blah, blah. And it just goes on. And I always wondered, why do people say that's so gay, but they never say that's so lesbian?
You were saying, Dan, earlier, before we went on the air, you were talking about that there are some kids at school that have relatives, parents that are gay, relatives that are gay.
I've heard someone say that's so lesbian, actually.
Yeah, okay. But
school people are very dumb.
Well, hopefully we can educate them a little, Dana. Do you feel after tonight you can be able to do anything from this show? And then we'll get to my question for Dan.
Yes, the Archdiocese is probably listening at home.
Oh, I'm sure.
And he's probably going to be like, get that girl out of my school.
Oh, that was, well, I don't know if they can get this show up there, Dana, so you might be spared. The signal's just not strong enough yet. Dan, getting back to your comment earlier before we went on the air, you said there's a lot of, or not a lot, but some kids at school that have parents that are...
That is a huge issue that's going to come through our schools. Dana obviously
Dana's living there.
Is in the forefront,
right.
But there's an enormous number of people who now have gay men and lesbians, sometimes together, sometimes separately, in all kinds of configurations, who now have kids who are coming through our schools. They're in our elementary schools in ever-increasing numbers. They're going to be in our middle schools and our high schools. You can't stop it.
Wow.
So the question becomes, what do you do about it?
Right.
Think of the little girl who's in first grade, and her teacher puts on the bulletin board the display of our families. And she's got mommy and daddy. She's got mommy and stepdaddy. She's got grandma raising the kids. She's got the adoptive parents. If she doesn't put mommy and mommy up on that bulletin board, that little first grader is going to get the idea that she doesn't live in a real family. And she's going to think, wait a minute, I can't bring my friends home. And then starting in first grade, she's going to look at school as sort of an alien place. So that's an issue. Dana, you look like you want to say something.
That's happened to me many times. Like, ever since, I think I brought my stepmommy in for show and tell once. She was, like, the best. That's when the kids weren't ignorant and would accept anyone. And then, moving on into, when I had to go to this Catholic school, I kind of got stuck there. I applied to Miss Porter's. It came in late, the whole deal. And it was the only private school close enough, and cost money, stuff like that. Anyway, so I had to listen in theology class to this brother who came in and said there are 3 types of people in the world. Only 3 types of people. There are people who are single and live for God, and there are people who are married to the opposite sex and live for God, and then there are people who are in
by same-sex parents that they're losing something by not having the influence of the other sex. That's a common reaction.
I think there are kids who are being raised in single-sex parents, single-parent households with divorce.
Right.
There are kids being raised by 2 parents who abuse them physically, emotionally, whatever. The important thing is that you are raised by someone or some 2 who love you.
But what do you kids think? I mean, I really find that, I can't tell you how often I hear that. I mean, that type of reaction. Do you want to respond to what Dan just said or add to that? Any of you?
I don't think it matters whether it's your parents are, whether you have 2 daddies, 2 mommies, a mommy and a daddy, or just a mommy or just a daddy. It's just there's somebody there who's in your life who loves you unconditionally through all of the stupid things that you do and go through.
Brandon?
And it's just the point.
Yeah, I think it's
Thanks,
a parent's job, no matter what parent it is or what sex, to give you a well-rounded look at life and a well-rounded just education as far as life is concerned. And there are lots of people who have two-parent households, married of the opposite sex, who are raised primarily by their mother, and they don't necessarily get less values. In fact, they may be worse off because they have the father figure there who's not really there. And that may just be worse off for them because you have the issue of neglect. It's if you have, as Dan was saying, if you have 2 people or 1 person or anyone who loves you unconditionally and will show you that and accept you for who you are and guide you through life in all aspects, that's important, and that's what a parent is.
And also, do you think maybe we get too attached to gender, that if we look at people psychologically, you could even say that all of us are masculine and feminine in terms of our psychological being, and that we get too hung up about people's gender? And that we need to educate people more about that? Anybody want to comment on that?
Being masculine.
Well, yeah, one might even make a case for the term androgyny, for instance.
I think that's one of the things that we have talked about in our Gay Straight Alliance is gender roles. Being stereotyped. We talk about jocks. We talk about what it is to be masculine, what it is to be feminine.
Right.
We don't have any answers,
Right.
but I do think it is important to talk about them.
There's certainly been a lot of literature about androgyny, which is a more psychological state rather than looking at it as just a sexual state. You were saying earlier, I don't know if I got the answer to this, Dan, about there's a difference in private schools and public schools in terms of how they treat this?
Well, just in terms legally, what a private school can do.
Can you just state that again for people that tuned in late tonight?
Well, public schools are held to a state standard. Private schools have a little more leeway. That doesn't mean they have the leeway, either ethically or legally, to create an unsafe environment for kids.
And that's across the board?
Across the board.
Across the board. So there's really not that big a difference really between private and public.
I don't see it. I mean, I think a kid could go to the most, to the strictest parochial school, to the most fundamentalist Christian school, and if that child does not have a safe environment, that kid is not going to reach his or her potential, and the school is not doing its job.
Has it been safe for you? I know for you coming out as a teacher, has it been safe for you?
That's a great question. I went to Staples. I graduated in 1971. There were 2,000 kids in the school then. I was positive I was the only one who was feeling what I was feeling. I know now that there were probably 200 others like me. I think that 10% figure is probably correct. I should have come out long before I did, but I was scared of what might be said, the reaction. Having said that, it was a great thing for me to do. The reaction has been very positive.
The administration's been very positive, too?
Administration has been very supportive. And I think a lot of people do want to do the right thing. They just don't get the opportunity.
Are other teachers being comfortable coming out as well, do you feel?
I think so.
Yeah.
In fact, we have a teacher there who decided to come to Staples after he saw a poster for the Gay Straight Alliance in our hallway. He said, that's a place I want to be. And that's important as a role model, not just for the gay kids in the school, but the straight kids as well.
Right. That's pretty good. That's terrific. Go ahead, Brandon.
Yeah.
Brandon from Fairfield.
I think that's one of the issues that the Gay Straight Alliance at Fairfield has to deal with, is that if it's not discussed openly, then it's like if you're not part of the solution, you're part of the problem. And if it's not discussed openly enough and mainstreamed more, then people who are straight or not even prejudiced but just iffy and uneducated are going to assume it's not being talked about for a reason. And you have to have that kind of openness, or there's going to be judgment no matter what.
Do you see that happening in Fairfield at your school? It's obviously been tough.
I don't know. Fairfield has a lot of students who are not as accepting. They also have a lot of students who are accepting, but it's not. I mean, like, we can talk in my English class. We talk about issues like that in literature. If there is insinuations of homosexuality or anything like that, it's openly talked about. And there's, as I said before, there's no open opposition to it. It's just not. It's not pushed. It's not made common.
And teachers are. And what do you say about gay teachers in your school?
It's kind of common knowledge that there's a gay couple at my school. But that's not an official statement whatsoever.
John, all of you, I mean, when you hear Dan talk about in the early years now, this issue is going to be bigger now with gay couples, lesbian couples. Any feelings about that in terms of how we get people more comfortable with all there's so much homophobia. What is this homophobia, and what do we do about it?
Dana, do you want to take this one?
Okay. People just think that if everybody is doing one thing and they see someone that they've never seen before doing something different,
Right.
then it's automatically weird.
Well, that we know. So what is it about the human condition, and what can we do about that?
I think it has to do about
It's so frustrating.
with the fear of change. People are. It's very comfortable to be safe in wherever you are and not ever move out of it when you're presented with change and progress and ideas that are foreign to you, and especially when so many people have been raised with the idea that it's wrong. Then you have a lot to work with and work past. And it's the effort, I think, lots of times that people are scared of. It's the fact that if they're not like you, then it's going to be scary. You don't know what you're dealing with, and when you can't relate to someone, you feel threatened, and you feel like you have no legs to stand on, which is where ignorance comes in.
Media is bad.
Well, we need more shows like this.
No.
Are they getting better? It's in the news every day.
No. Will and Grace, it's yuck. Okay?
But it's out there.
Yes, it's out there. Yes, it tells more about, like, it's getting gay people out there, but it's so, like, falsely.
Do you live as a gay man in New York City as a lawyer? I don't know about.
Hey, listen, I want to cut in for a second because we're going to go a little beyond the hour tonight, Dave. Is that okay with you over there in Westport? Can you hear me, Dave?
Yeah, how much longer?
I don't know, Dave. I want to go like a little bit, maybe 5 or 10 minutes over. See, we got a little bit of a late start tonight. Is that okay with you?
Yeah, that's all right.
So, DJ Sketch, what do you think about what's going on here? Now, you got any opinions over there in Westport with your friend? You guys are sitting there listening to all this, huh?
Yeah, I think it's good. You know, I'm surprised that people are open and stuff. I know
Yeah, it's
Dan
pretty open
Woog
here.
From Staples, and he comes into our health class, and he did a great presentation. You know,
Right.
And I enjoy listening to him and hearing what he has to say. You know, it keeps me listening and stuff.
Has you think this show going to open people's mind? Do you have anything you want to add to the show tonight, DJ?
I think it's going to open people's minds. As of now, I don't have anything I'm going to say, but I'm going to keep listening. And
What do you think about these guests we have on here tonight?
I think they're great guests. You know?
Great.
Cool.
Yeah, this Dana's she's a wild one here tonight, don't you think, Dave?
Yeah, very
We're not
wild.
used to such outspoken young ladies here at the panel, huh?
Yeah.
I'm sure you're enjoying it. So, listen, when we get into that, 7 o'clock bit, we're going to just go a couple more minutes, all right?
All right, no problem.
Somebody wants to talk for a second. Yeah, you can, and say, I got to bring something up. I was going to bring it up at the beginning of the night, and this is this nags at me. The other thing I hear all the time, and I want everybody to hear this question, because to me, this is the most amazing thing of all. When you sit around and you hear people say, you don't have to be gay. That's not something that you can control that. I mean, it's not a natural way of being. You come into the world to have children and promote offspring, and it's just not a natural way to be. And you don't have to be this way. It's something that you can have control over and just change.
Well, it's
I
natural.
hear that all the time.
It's natural to me. People talk about talking about gay issues would cause kids to become gay who otherwise wouldn't. I don't know any kid who would want to be harassed, who would want to be looked down upon. The straight world tried to recruit me for 20 years, and I wanted to be recruited, and it didn't work. I would turn the question around and say, why is it an issue for people? The fact that I happen to be attracted to someone of my own gender should not have any impact on somebody who is straight. And if they think, if they're worried that I'm going to be attracted to them, that's life, and maybe they're not that attractive to begin
Yes,
with.
they shouldn't give themselves that much credit because...
WWPT, Westport.
Okay, I'm sorry.
No, but what are you saying, Dana? What are you saying?
I had this one time I accidentally brushed up against one girl by accident because I fell. Yes.
Dana.
And she thought that I love her now.
Yeah, but Dana, going back to my question, is this something you have control over? This is who you are.
Yes, this
Can you
is who I
tell
am.
people that this is who you are?
What does it even matter? I don't think it matters if I'm what I do.
Well, that's what.
When I have sex, who cares?
Well, ideally that's true, but there are a lot of people out there that still need to be educated. Dave, John, do you want to say something about this? Do you have any opinion about this comment that I hear all the time?
I don't think it's like a choice that you have. It's just
Not a choice.
You're born with it,
Born
and
with
it's
it.
just that's the way it is, and it's just it's natural for the person. Doesn't matter whether they're gay, straight, bisexual, what have you. But it's as you were saying about the whole thing about children, it's that is kind of natural because everybody kind of wants to have children. You want to see your children grow up and go through high school,
I want
and the
kids.
whole graduation thinking, oh, I want to be there when he or she gets married, there.
There are different ways to have kids, right?
And there are plenty of different ways you can adopt.
Right.
If you're gay, it doesn't really matter.
You could adopt if you're straight.
that too,
That happens quite a bit, actually, don't you think, Dana?
You could get artificially inseminated if you're straight.
or if you're gay for that matter.
Brendan, do you want to just jump in on my little question here before we have my associate producer come in and say something? Go ahead.
I think that it's people think that because they're not taught differently, and they don't know firsthand experience because it's not put into the media and mainstreamed. I don't think that it's a choice. As Dan was saying, I don't think anyone chooses to go through that kind of struggle for some sort of pleasure that they get out of it. It's a very uphill battle, and I can't understand why anyone would come from that point of view.
See, I agree, because it's a larger issue than a gay-straight issue, because basically many of us, if not all of us, struggle with our own individuality. And some of us fit into the mainstream more than others. It could be for many reasons. You could be an artist who's doing wild artwork and not accepted in museums. It doesn't,
People look for something to hate. People
look for something to hate.
People need
Right.
something to vent out upon. They need someone that they can blame for things, someone that they can yell out and express hatred towards because they don't have anywhere else to do it. It's often because you're mad at yourself for something or you weren't accepted yourself, and homosexuality is often an accepted way to do that. Now it's not as accepted, but it has always been one of the prejudices that is okay.
Dana, I'm giving you about 20 seconds because I've got my associate producer here and we don't have a lot of time, so go ahead, jump in quick.
There are lesbians that don't accept bisexual women. And there are so many different groups that are minorities that don't accept minorities within the minorities.
So what do you want to say to those people, Dana, in 10 seconds or less?
Everybody love everybody else because we all are the same.
Okay, I like that. Now, listen, I have my associate producer over here. Appropriately, he's sitting by my side here, John Locke, who is really responsible for this, I think, very important